On June 22nd, 1986, in the same match, in the same stadium, Diego Maradona scored the most controversial goal in World Cup history. And then, 4 minutes later, the greatest goal in World Cup history. 2 goals, 1 match, 1 building. That stadium opened the 2026 World Cup on June 11th. It is 60 years old. Its name, translated from Spanish, means Aztec Stadium, a tribute to the civilization that built the ancient city underneath modern Mexico City. No stadium on Earth has a resume like the Estadio Azteca. 2 World Cup finals, 3 opening matches, both Pelé and Maradona lifting the trophy inside its walls, and now a 3rd World Cup in 2026, making it the only venue in history to host the tournament 3 times. The question is, how does one building end up at the center of football history over and over for 60 years? The Azteca was built for ambition. Construction began in 1962, driven by 2 men who wanted to bring the World Cup to Mexico. The architects visited Wembley, the San Siro, Camp Nou, and the Bernabeu, studying every major stadium in Europe before drawing their own. When it opened in 1966, it was the largest stadium in Latin America. The site cost 260 million pesos. Over 107,000 fans attended the inauguration, a match between Club America and Italy's Torino. It sits at an elevation of 2,200 meters above sea level, more than 7,200 feet. At that altitude, the air is thinner. Players who aren't acclimatized fatigue faster. The ball travels farther and moves differently. The Azteca's altitude is not a coincidence. It is a structural advantage for Mexico, built into the geography of the city it sits in. The stadium hosted 10 matches during the 1970 World Cup, including the final. That final, Brazil 4, Italy 1, is still considered by many historians the greatest World Cup final ever played. Pelé scored the opener with a header. Carlos Alberto closed it with a thundering finish that remains one of the most replayed moments in football history. Pelé hoisted the World Cup trophy there for a 3rd and final time. At 60 years old in 2026, Estadio Azteca is the oldest World Cup venue by decades. Age is part of its power. 16 years passed. Then, 1986. Colombia had been awarded the tournament but withdrew due to economic crisis. Mexico stepped in with 2 years' notice. The Azteca became the heart of the World Cup again and produced the most famous single match in the tournament's history. June 22nd, 1986, Argentina versus England, quarterfinal. On 55 minutes, with the game goalless, Maradona jumped to contest a high ball with England goalkeeper Peter Shilton. The Argentine used his left hand to punch the ball into the net, much to the fury of the England players and staff. The referee did not spot the foul and allowed the goal to stand. Maradona told reporters afterward it was scored a little with the head of Maradona and a little with the hand of God. Then, 4 minutes later, from inside his own half, he received the ball, turned, and ran. He beat 1 English player, then another, then another. He covered 60 meters, beat 5 outfield players and the goalkeeper, and finished. The entire move took 11 seconds. It is still called the goal of the century. The Estadio Azteca is the only football stadium in the world to have both Pelé and Diego Maradona win the FIFA World Cup. No other venue can say that. No other venue likely ever will. The 2026 tournament marked the Azteca's 3rd chapter and its most historic milestone. The Mexican venue made history as the first stadium ever to host 3 FIFA World Cup opening matches, an achievement no other sporting venue has accomplished. Mexico faced South Africa on June 11th to open the tournament. On June 11th, when the ball rolled for the first time in the 2026 FIFA World Cup, it set the record as the only ground to host the tournament's opening game for a 3rd time, 1970, 1986, and 2026. For the 2026 tournament, a $300 million renovation was completed. New hybrid turf, new drainage systems, new internal walkways, new hospitality areas. The capacity was maintained at 87,523. The name changed, per FIFA rules, to Estadio Ciudad de Mexico, Mexico City Stadium, stripping the sponsor branding for the duration of the tournament. The altitude remained exactly as it always was, 2,200 meters, unchanged, unmovable, a fact that every visiting team has had to prepare for across 3 World Cups and 60 years. 3 World Cups, 2 finals, 2 opening matches now. 3. Pelé, Maradona, the game of the century, the goal of the century, the hand of God. No other stadium has accumulated this much history. Not Wembley, not the Maracanã, not the Bernabeu. The Azteca doesn't just host World Cup history, it generates it. Something about the altitude, the noise, the weight of what happened there before produces moments that the sport remembers for decades. In 2026, it opened another World Cup. Whatever happened inside it this summer added one more layer to a building that has been at the center of football's greatest stories since 1970. That's not planning. That's just what happens when a stadium becomes something bigger than a stadium.